birth weights. It says the mean birth weight for U.S. children born at full term after 40 weeks. Okay, so we're talking about birth weights. And it says the mean birth weight born at full term is 3,462 grams. Okay, about 7.6 pounds. And the standard deviation is about 500 grams. Okay, and so it says suppose the shape of the distribution is symmetric and unimodal. Okay, so we've got a shape that's something like this. Symmetric and unimodal. So this is a perfect situation for using the mean and SD. And standard deviation are ideal in this situation. Alright, and it says, according to the empirical rule, what is the range of birth weights in grams of US-born children from one standard deviation below the mean to one standard deviation above the mean? Okay, so we go one standard deviation below and one standard deviation above. So in the middle we have the mean, which is 3,462. This is our mean. And we're going to go out one standard deviation. One standard deviation is 500 grams. So I'm going to add 500 grams. And so that's going to give me on this end 3,962 grams on that side. And then if I go one standard deviation down, I'm going to do this number over here is going to be 3,462 minus 500 grams. Okay, and that's going to give me 2,962 grams. Okay, so one standard deviation below the mean, and over here this is one standard deviation above the mean. Okay, so according to the empirical rule says about 68% of babies born at full term weigh between 2,962 grams and 3,962 grams. Okay, and that's what the empirical rule. Empirical rule says that about 68%, or about 2/3 of babies, are born within one standard deviation above and one standard deviation below. Okay, now it asks, is a birth weight of 2,800 grams more than one standard deviation below the mean? Okay, and so here we see that one standard deviation below the mean is 2,962. So 2,800 is indeed more, this is part B, more than one standard deviation below the mean. Okay, because when we did one standard deviation below the mean was 3,462. When we subtracted one standard deviation, so we subtracted 500 grams, one standard deviation, that gave us 2,962. It's asking, is 2,800 more than one standard deviation below? Yes, 2,800 is less than 2,962, so it is more than one standard deviation below the mean.